Hey, there you are. Welcome to Wednesday. I'm Tom Carnell. This is Carnell Knowledge, a show in which I give a lot of recommendations and about movies, about books, about records, about cool stuff I found. And brief word of introduction, I was a buyer for Tower Records and Warehouse and Record Factory for about 20 years. I published and wrote most of Carpe Noctem, which was a dark art publication in the 90s. And then for a couple of decades, I wrote for Fangoria and Dread Central and TwitchFilm.com. I'm now an author, and you can go to my Amazon page and find a host of stuff that you can peruse and buy if you're a nice person. Remember to watch this video till the end. That's how I beat the algorithm and try to get more people onto the channel. The more people that come on, the more cool stuff I can show you. You get it. It's the internet. If you have a product you want to talk to me about, or if you want to talk to me about something online, go ahead and email me at tomcarnell@gmail.com. And yeah, we're just going to get right into it. Right out of the box, I want to remind you that in the description down there, you can find trailer links to all the movies I talk about. You can find links to the Amazon or Goodreads page for all the books I talk about. And then you will also find links to YouTube playlists of the entire record that I'm talking about. So don't just take my word for it, because I'm just a guy. Go there, check it out yourself. I'm sure you're going to find something you're going to like and something you probably never heard of, because I spent a lot of time digging under rocks for some of this stuff. I think that's it. So let's get right to it. Starting with films, we're going to go 5 movies, 5 books, 5 records, because 3 days a week can, let's see, movies. 1985. We're going to go with a classic of cinema, Akira Kurosawa's Ran. It stars Tatsuya Nakadai, R.I.P., he just passed just recently, Akira Teraru, and Chimpachi Nezu. The synopsis is as follows. In medieval Japan, an elderly warlord retires, handing over his empire to his 3 sons. However, he vastly underestimates how the newfound power will corrupt them and cause them to turn on each other and him, i.e., this film is basically King Lear. If you're not Shakespeare literate, you should be. It's Shakespeare, come on. But this is an amazing film. It's a treat for the eyes. It's a treat for the mind. It's a treat for the heart. Just absolutely fantastic. A couple of things I found that were kind of interesting. Kurosawa's wife died midway through production, and he halted everything for 1 day and grieved for her, and then went right back and started filming. During the filming of this, Kurosawa's eyesight was failing, and he relied heavily on assistants and storyboards, which is fantastic. If you see the film, you know what I'm talking about. I always refer to this and say that set design was by God. There's long, wide shots of this thing, and the clouds are in perfect formation. The color schemes are just beautiful. It's just beautiful. They use 1,400 extras in this film, 200 horses. And even then, it was Kurosawa's only Best Director nomination. According to legend, Peter O'Toole tried to get Kurosawa to do Lear at one point 20 years ago, or 20 years from the time it was made. And then it took 20 years for him to finally marshal all of his resources and get it made. He reportedly consulted Ishio Honda, who did all the Godzilla films, on the battle sequences, which I don't know, that struck me kind of weird and odd. And he had a hard time getting funding. When you see the film, you'll see what I'm talking about. Every frame of it. It's one of those films like Curse of the Golden Flower or The Fall that you could literally take any frame from and clip it out and put it on your wall as artwork. It's that beautiful. I don't really know. I mean, can you tell I love this film? It's one of my favorite Kurosawa films. I think that and Throne of Blood, and then of course Seven Samurai. It's fantastic. So go see this or go watch this if you haven't. It's available all over streaming. I wanted to check. It's all available all over streaming. You can see it pretty readily. It's long. It's nearly 3 hours, but man, is it worth it? Just amazing. Second film, 1948. We're going to go with The Red Shoes, directed by Michael Powell and Emmerich Pressburger, legendary filmmakers. Stars Anton Walbrook, and it was the debut of Moira Shearer. Synopsis is: a young ballet dancer is torn between the man she loves and her pursuit to become a prima ballerina. I have a personal relationship to this film. Elsewhere on this channel is a long interview I did with George Romero at a convention. We called it was a fireside chat. I do these things now and again. It's like a one-on-one thing. And he told a story about how he loves this. He loved this film, and he would go to the local film library. I believe it was in New York. And check it out. And whenever it was checked out, it was always checked out by Scorsese. So Romero and Scorsese would battle to be able to get a hold of a copy of this film to be able to screen it. Gene Kelly loved this film and saw it over and over. It was originally a vehicle for Merle Oberon, and it is a beautiful film in Technicolor. It's just a treat for the eyes. And an incredible motion picture. I'm hard pressed to think of a film that it's like, but it's absolutely beautiful. The dance sequences are lovely. They're well choreographed. They're expertly shot, and yeah, it's not a film a lot of people talk about. Boy, should they. This should be on everyone's top 10 list, in my opinion. That Ron, too, should be on there. And if it's not, well, let's go with our third film, 1974. This is a complete change of pace from the other two. I'm going to warn you right now. Originally titled GEKITOTSU SATSUJIN Ken, a.k.a. The Street Fighter, directed by Shigeru Hozawa. He did a lot of these, including a lot of the sequels, and he also did the highly underrated Sister Street Fighter. Stars Sonny Chiba and Goichi Yamada. It's an iconic film, I'll tell you that right now. Synopsis goes: after failing to reach a deal with her enemies, a mercenary karate master protects the daughter of a recently deceased oil tycoon from the evil conglomerate gunning for her inheritance. It is a template, or it became a template for a lot of the films of this subgenre, that followed. It was the first ever to get an X rating for violence in the U.S. American newspaper ads carried the quote, "Notice the MPAA has rated this film unsuitable for viewers under the age of 17 because of its extraordinary fight scenes," which was blood in the water for young people sneaking in and trying to see this thing. Tell someone they can't do something, and they're going to go right there and get it. This film introduced a controversial X-ray vision, like in Mortal Kombat, when the punch comes in and then it cuts to like an X-ray and you see the punch hit and the jaw fractures or what have you. These guys did it first. It's a great film. Sonny Chiba is at his snarling best. The martial arts are competent. They're, by today's standards, they're a little clumsy, but it's a great film. Fun film, a real kick in the pants to, my dog comes in, a real kick in the pants to sit and watch with friends. It's just, if you like that old 42nd Street grindhouse feel, Street Fighter, it's the bomb. Fourth film, 2005. This is an underrated film. Not when the films of Guy Ritchie hit the table and people start talking about it, they rarely mention Revolver, but I think they should. It was written by Guy Ritchie and Luc Besson. Stars Jason Statham, Ray Liotta, Andre 3000, and Mark Strong in a terrific role as the sort of button-down assassin. Synopsis goes, gambler Jake Green enters into a game with potentially deadly consequences. Excuse me, it's a lot more than that. It's a lot more than that. There are two versions of the film. The original version, which makes more sense and actually flows as a story. And then there's an Australian version it has deleted scenes, but it's a little incoherent. It's fun. It's tightly scripted, like all Guy Ritchie action films. It's not prone to excess, I think, like some of his other stuff, his later stuff. But it's a good film. I enjoy this film. When I look at all the Guy Ritchie films, I scratch my head and I don't understand why people don't embrace this film more. It's not Gone with the Wind, but it's definitely fun and it's interesting and the action is well handled, and I think it's great. Our last film, 1963, directed by Don Chappie, who directed Pete's Dragon. This is Jason and the Argonauts. This, for me as a kid, what am I going to tell you? This was an important movie for me. I saw it on TV. It had aired maybe in the late 60s, I want to say, maybe even the early 70s. Stars Todd Armstrong and Nancy Kovac. Synopsis is the legendary Greek hero leads a team of intrepid adventurers in a perilous quest for the legendary Golden Fleece. You can say a lot about this film, but I'll tell you, at the outset, this is, lost my train of thought, Ray Harryhausen's film. He helped marshal it to production. Every sequence that is memorable is him. All the stop motion stuff he did, the iconic battle with the skeletons, the battle with Talos, the giant bronze statue. You're gonna trust me on this. You're gonna see this movie ripped off in Christopher Nolan's Odyssey more than you would be comfortable with. As a boy, the idea of hopping on a boat and going off and having adventures was very, very tempting. And this movie was just right in that pocket. You know what I mean? Just fantastic. A couple of oddities that I found. Talos was changed into a living bronze giant after the success of Sergio Leone's The Colossus of Rhodes in 1961. It would become one of Harryhausen's most famous inventions. Originally, Ray Harryhausen animated the skeleton with bits of rotting flesh hanging from their bones, but censors had a problem with that, thought it was too gruesome. The skeleton shields are adorned with designs from other Ray Harryhausen creatures, including an octopus and the head of Ymir from 20 Million Miles to Earth. And Bernard Herrmann did the score, and it's great. He wrote it without a string section, which leaves the brass and percussion to perform the heroic fanfares, and the woodwinds and additional instruments such as the harp to dominate in the more subtle romantic parts. Later, Herrmann would compose the score to Psycho, which uses only strings, no woodwinds, percussion, or brass. Tom Hanks stated that Jason and the Argonauts was the greatest film ever made during a speech at the Science and Technical Awards Oscar performance in 1992. This is a great film. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this. I'm sure some of you have. I mean, I'm sure all of you have heard of it. And if you haven't seen it, I want to say this baby is on Tubi, available for free, so go do that. Just a great film, just a great, fun, safe for the kids, high adventure. It's the bomb. Let's see, moving on to books. We're going to start in 2015. Don Roff do his book Snowblind. Synopsis is as follows. A relaxing getaway, a fun vacation with friends. This is what this weekend was supposed to be. These guys get trapped at a cabin and they run into some mysterious goings on. There is reportedly a film in development. I hear through my internet diggings, Karl Urban, Ashley Green are going to be in it. Marcus Alqueras, who did The Flying Man, is directing. It's very reminiscent of The Shining, trapped in a cabin in the woods kind of a thing. There's a lot of military lingo in the book. Don was a member of the 3rd Ranger Battalion of the 75th Ranger Regiment. So he it's parlance for him. It's everyday speak for him, but it may be a little off-putting for readers who aren't military fluent. It's a fun book. It's a great book. I had a good time reading it. It's a fairly quick read. Hold on a second. And apologize for that. My dogs were acting up and I had to shoo them from the room. Back to Snowblind. Very, very fun, very inventive. The tropes it does use, it uses quite well. And the ending is a bit of a surprise. Second book, I should say. Douglas Clegg doing a short story collection called The Nightmare Chronicles from 2012. This won a Stoker for Best Fiction Collection. As always with collections, we have a rule around here that I call the good, the bad, and the ugly. Not every story is a cracker, but overall, it was a fun read and an enjoyable read. And highly recommend. Doug's a great writer, and he has a ton of books out. Why he doesn't get more love, I'm not really, I'm kind of confounded by. But these are solid tales, well written, and I highly recommend it. Third book, 1999, Harry Harrison, the great Harry Harrison. He's a legend in sci-fi writing. Did a book called DEATHWORLD. It started an iconic series. There's multiple books out. It's a classic sci-fi tale. The synopsis is a little long. I'll try to shorten it up. But DEATHWORLD centers on Jason Denault, a professional gambler who uses his somewhat erratic psionic abilities to tip the odds in his favor. He is challenged by a man to turn a large amount of money into an immense sum by gambling at a government-run casino. He succeeds and survives the planetary government's desperate attempts to steal the money back. In a fit of ennui, he decides to accompany Kirk back to his homeland, despite being warned that it's the deadliest world ever colonized, he goes along. This is a book that I read as a kid, and I absolutely thought was terrific. I don't know why it's never been optioned for a film. It's perfect. It's very pulp in its sensibilities. And again, when I read this as a boy, this was my jam. The idea of going someplace and everything can kill you, and it's not Australia. And because of the increased gravity, it immediately, like the longer he stays there, the more buff he gets. So it's kind of like a perfect sci-fi platform from which to spring from. It's great. It does remind me a little bit of Avatar. Finding going to a planet, meeting the savages of the world, and finding out that they are a just people living in concert with the planet and winning the corporate sort of other guys there. Yeah, it's great stuff. Again, there's a lot of them. You can get them on Kindle for a song. DEATHWORLD, highly recommend. And then our fourth book from 2023. This is by David Niall Wilson's Nevermore. Full disclosure, David runs Crossroad Press. Crossroad Press put out a lot of my early books, something I'm very, very grateful for and will always be. But I need to let get that out there first, and then we'll go on to the review. This is a story that blends the truth of Edgar Allan Poe's life, hence the title Nevermore, and then sort of peppers it with fiction. It's captivating. The atmospheric, I think, is very, very imaginative. Begins a little slow, but then immediately picks up, and you're sort of in the pocket and on for the ride. Has a kind of a fairy tale feel, but it's written well, with fully realized locations and well-defined characters. He does a great job on integrating fact and fiction, and it's fantastic. I read it in not quite one sitting, but it was pretty quick. Once I got locked in, yeah, buzzed right through it. And then finally, Karl Edward Wagner's In a Lonely Place. I'm still reading that. Continuing to dig it. Wagner is a great writer, and he deserves all of the accolades. Again, started reading him with some of his pulpy Conan-y stuff, Robert E. Howard type stuff. And this is a nice surprise. There's some really cool moments. The one I just finished was a bit of a ghost story that I didn't expect from him, but boy, was it good. Yeah. So there we go. Books. Moving on to records. Got a few of those. Let's start here. 2008. This is going to surprise you. The album's called Hurricane, and the artist is Grace Jones. It's her 10th studio record. There's a dub version of this record. She vowed, after the mediocre success of her other albums, she vowed to never do another record. But then she met the producer, a guy named Ivor Guest, and he got her excited and to make this record. And boy, I was surprised by how much I really liked this. AllMusic's John O'Brien deemed the record, quote, an appropriately titled whirlwind of dub rock, reggae, electro-industrial, electro, trip-hop, and R&B. Susan Goldring from the BBC wrote that the album is beautifully produced with textures that just make you want to savor and unwrap each track, accompanied by an occasional oddity. This is like Grace Jones. There's no one like Grace Jones, but if you're just dismissing her with her early disco-y stuff and things like Slave to the Rhythm, this is going to change your mind. I was really blown away by this record. In fact, we were listening to it, my wife and I were listening to it at dinner, and I kept getting up going, who is this? Thinking that the record had changed and that it couldn't possibly be Grace Jones, but it was Grace Jones, and it's fantastic. Once again, the record's called Hurricane. Next up, 1985, self-titled record from the band Aragon, A-R-A-G-O-N. They're from Australia. I would describe this as lush electronics meets soaring female vocals. It's delightful. It's a beautiful pressing. It reminded me of things like Marillion, Genesis, Enigma, and believe it or not, the poppier side of Vangelis. Really fantastic. Perfect for late night, perfect for chilling out, perfect for music to put on while you have dinner, or even on a long walk. I love this record. And again, I've yet to hear anyone talk about it. I had a hard time when I was doing some research for this show, finding information about them. I think there were some things on Discogs, but even that was just bare. But yeah, again, the link is down in the description. Check it out. I think you'll be really surprised by what you hear. Next record. The band is called Garaj Mahal, G-A-R-A-J-M-A-H-A-L. The record is called ROTIFER. I'm going to call this sophisticated jazz funk world fusion. Super tight, super syncopated. Angela Moore from Fishbone and Cautious Clay sing on this. It's a very cool record. Again, super articulate and fun. You need to hear this. I was very, very happy about this, and it was a no-brainer to put it on a list to cover here on the show. Reminded me of things like Chicoria, Mahavishnu Orchestra, Cassiopeia, and if anybody remembers Diodato from the 70s, he had a couple pop hits, but his other records were very much sort of deep fusion and great stuff. This Garaj Mahal blew me away. It really did blow me away. Good stuff. And again, check the link. You're going to love it. Fourth record, 1990. The band, English instrumental band Ozric Tentacles. The album is called ERPLAND. It's their second studio record. They started back in the 80s. They have 30 records out now. Very prog, very kind of soaring and inspirational. I found it funny that on Wikipedia it said that the last track of the album, A Gift of Wings, was written and recorded while the band was under the influence of psilocybin mushrooms. You gotta love that. Guitarist Ed Wynn claims that most of the album was recorded this way. It's fantastic. It came on sort of randomly. And again, I kept getting up and seeing, like, is this still Ozric Tentacles? It reminded me of a host of things, like, let's go, I'll run down the list, Gong, Steve Hillage, Hydria Space Folk. It reminded me of Hawkwind, Spongle, if you've ever heard Spongle, and Orison Space Collective. A great record, very electronic, very much sort of proggy. But don't let that push you away if you're not a prog fan. Fantastic. Once again, ERPLAND by Ozric Tentacles. And then finally, we're going to go with a record from 2025. This one, boy. J. Sullivan and the Four Korners. The record's called Live at the JAMMJAM. This band wails. Fusion, jazz fusion at its most blistering. The members of the band played with people like Janet Jackson, Anita Baker, and Regina Hill. I can't say enough good things about this. There's videos all over YouTube of these guys, and they are a smoking band. Reminded me of Lettuce, Snarky Puppy, Cassiopeia. But boy, howdy, this is a burner. They are tight. They're funky, and they are an absolute treat to sit down with. I don't want to say too much that because I can tend to be hyperbolic about this stuff, but check these guys out. They are something. They are absolutely something. That's going to do it. A quick video for a Wednesday. No, not so quick as I look at the time, but again, check out the text in the description for all the links. And please go to my Amazon page and look at the books. If you pick one up, I would be most appreciative. I also have them available that I can sign for anyone. Just go ahead and email me at tomcornell@gmail.com. And as always, like the video, comment. I'll get right back to you, I promise. Subscribe to the channel, and please share it to your social media. I would be very, very appreciative of that. Other than that, we will see you on Friday, and have a good week.